It's time for words. Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of a new video series called Let's Talk. This video should be published on October 3rd, 2018. And let me take a second to explain what exactly this is going to be. This is not something I'm going to be doing like on a weekly basis. This is going to be done at intermittent intervals throughout the year. Just kind of giving you guys an update as to the current status and future of this channel. So again, don't be expecting anything like this frequently. This is more of a let me keep you guys aware as to what my intentions are and what's going on. So, again, this is the first one we're doing, so if there's any unusual pauses or anything that I missed in editing, I do apologize, but this is going to be my best way to communicate with you guys outside of comments or maybe Twitter, so hopefully this is useful to you guys. And as always, please give me feedback, so if it turns out that this is not really working for you guys at all, let me know. It's just the best way I know on how to give both an understanding to what I'm doing with the channel. I don't really know where I was going with this. I'm so used to being able to go back in my edits and just watch. I just want to make sure that we have a good opportunity for you to know what my intentions are, both verbally and with supplemental video aid. Or visual aid for that matter. Anyway, so let's talk about things. First of all, what have we finished? So we just completed Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines for PC. Amazing game. Loved probably about 90% of the game. It had some issues, but overall it was a fantastic game and I really recommend it to everyone. So if you're just paying attention to my other playthroughs, please go back and take a look at Vampire the Masquerade because it was top notch. And it's regularly on sale, so it's not difficult to get a hold of at a reasonable price. But yeah, definitely good. So, just to let you know, though Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines Blind is complete, there's still going to be another video coming up fairly soon. I don't know how quick. Hopefully sometime in the next week or two. Basically going to be my final thoughts video on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I want my experience with that game to kind of marinate in my mind a little bit more before I actually put those final thoughts out there for people to consume, for better or for worse. So I just want to make sure that I'm not coming off of my immediate playthrough. I want to give it some time. It won't be like a quality review per se. It'll be more like a let's look back on what worked with this game, what didn't work for me personally, as well as different aspects of it that maybe review light, but basically just talking about my experience and whether or not it was firing on all cylinders, if that makes sense. I'll be doing that with every single blind game that I play through. Again, with significant time in between when I finish it and when I post it, just to make sure I have time to think about it all. So, that's what we've finished. We are currently working on Final Fantasy IV, the complete collection. So for anybody who has been watching Vampire the Masquerade, but has been ignoring Final Fantasy IV, that's fine. Don't think that I'm expecting you to watch every single other thing I'm doing because of Vampire. I do really appreciate my audience in Vampire the Masquerade. I know it's not significant right now, but I do know that because it is a cult classic, I do know that a lot of people are going to be showing up to watch this series over time, which is fantastic, and I'm looking forward to any comments that may come from that. But at the same time, I'm not expecting you guys to watch other videos. If I have that expectation, the channel will fail, because I'll be catering to an audience that may or may not actually exist. But more on that here in a little bit. So we're working on 4. We're just got into the after years for about 4 videos in, somewhere around there, depending on my recording schedule when this posts. But I'm having a lot of fun with that one as well. It's a traditional Final Fantasy game from a long time ago for the most part. So there's a lot about it that's really annoying in modern gaming that you would have a lot of difficulty getting away with if it was not A JRPG, and B, something that came from a very old game in the first place. But we're getting through that. I'm anticipating at least another 20 to 30 videos on that before we finish it. And again, we'll be putting together a Final Thoughts video on that entire series at that point. Now let me talk about something new that's coming up that I will be starting this week, actually. I have something that I'm going to be doing called Let's Nostalgia Play. So what does that mean? Basically, there is a short list of games that I have in my mind right now that I want to play through, that I've already played through, but have significant parts of my childhood and or significant parts of my life in general tied to these games. For example, the first game we're going to do, which again will be later this week, will be a nostalgia playthrough of Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time. Are there games better than it? Yes. Very, very easily. Do I have stronger feelings about games that are not Chrono Trigger? No. Chrono Trigger is cemented in my childhood and is basically the fundamental building block of my gaming experience. I feel the nostalgia playthrough is a good start with Chrono Trigger. Now, is it just a playthrough? No, not really. I'm going to be playing through it, but not really spoiling anything as I go along. So anybody who wants to come in and experience it for the first time will have that opportunity. I do not want to steal that first time experience from other viewers on the channel. You can be safe to know that anything I do that's a nostalgia play will be extremely spoiler free. I will not deny that there will be times where I'll probably reference things in vague ways, or I'll talk about something that's still coming up in the game that's not a story spoiler. It may be more like a gameplay spoiler or a mechanic spoiler, but the story itself, which is the core of these games I'm playing, will not be spoiled in any way. I promise you that. I'm going to play it in a very, very limited scope with my view, just to make sure that that spoiler does not reach you. The other half of the nostalgia portion of this is that I'm going to talk a lot about my experience with different aspects of the game as we come across them. Why it's such a big nostalgic factor for me. Chrono Trigger is the biggest one here, so I'm very excited about getting into that one. Especially because it also involves my sister, my only sister, my only sibling, technically. Well, my full-blood sibling, but that's a whole other thing that you guys don't need to know about. But it also heavily includes her as part of this, and really shapes who I became as a person, as again, like I said before, as a gamer, as well as a storyteller. So I'm really looking forward to getting the opportunity to go through all of that with you guys. So now that we've talked about our blind playthroughs and our nostalgia playthroughs, how exactly is this all going to work? So, right now, as you guys have seen, I'm putting out a video on a daily basis. That takes time. It takes a lot of time, so it's really difficult to maintain this consistency from a day-to-day basis. I know I floundered at least once, maybe twice. I'm not 100% sure on the second time. I might have, but I know one time that I didn't get it up that day, and I did apologize for that because, well, I set a precedent, and that is your expectation. I want to make sure that I continue to meet that expectation, even with only 11 subscribers. Like that is an expectation I still want to meet, regardless of whatever the size of this channel is. Now, I will give you heads up ahead of time whenever things change, which is actually what I'm just about to talk about. So, I have a full-time job, so I work 40 plus hours a week on top of doing all this on the side. And yes, like I said before, yeah, I'm trying to be consistent, get a video up every single day. And honestly, I'm doing that both for you guys, because I want you guys to keep experiencing that level of that par level of expectation and quality, as well as to keep me playing the games. Because if I step away, I leave a game alone for a week plus, it gets really difficult to hop back in and pick up right where I left off. So if I ever have to drop a game and come back to it later, it will be after I've finished it. I'll finish that game and I'll just not play another game for a little while. I'll just focus on one game. Kind of takes a little bit of that stress away. But where am I going? I'm meandering a lot here. So, again, I'm working a full-time job on the side here. On the side. My full-time job is just to support this channel. No, it's on that my full-time job is my main source of income because, well, that's how I make my money. So, the stress levels of that job are going to escalate very quickly because we're heading into peak season, which means I'm going to be a lot more stressed. I'm going to have a lot less mental capacity to handle the editing portion of these videos. Playing the games is a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying that. It allows me to unwind. The problem is playing that, and then the editing part means I have to take time to watch through the entire playthrough that I did, which is some videos may only be 30 or 40 minutes, but the actual recording time on those videos could be an hour plus. In fact, the last video that I just posted for Vampire, the ending, which I think is just over an hour long, was about an hour and 45 minutes. Hour and 45 minutes? Hour and a half. It was an hour and a half. So I had to cut out 30 minutes of playtime for a couple different things. I mean, sometimes I just gotta cut stuff because it's completely wrong. Sometimes I gotta catch up on things I did because I died and didn't save properly. Or sometimes things call outside of the game that pull me away. Maybe a doorbell. I'm gonna grab some lunch because I'm realizing I've been playing for a long time. Or I'm getting a phone call or a text from my wife. Stuff like that. And it does run long. It takes time to get that all put together. Not that I'm trying to make excuses per se, but just explaining what kind of time it takes to get these edits done. Sorry, I'm just kind of meandering again. Hopefully this video isn't going to be too long. But essentially, my stress level is going to skyrocket. So, what does that mean for the channel? Basically, for the next couple months, I'm going to start moving videos back to a 2 videos every 3 days or 1 video every 2 days, depending on how stressful things are getting. I'll post it in the discussions board as well as posted on my Twitter, just to make sure people are aware that like this is the big chunk coming out of it. But the par level of quality that I need to put out for you guys, I need to have time to spend on the editing. Otherwise, if I don't have the time for it, I may just go ahead and throw up whatever I have. I'll miss edits. You miss some of this lovely that goes on in my videos sometimes because, well, that's another video. I am going to do some more stuff, but anyway. Oh my gosh, this is so meandering. This is so frustrating. I even have an outline set, and I'm going through my outline, and it's not working quite as well. So, essentially what it comes down to is peak time with my full-time job is coming up. I need time to do editing, and with the stress, that time is going to be better spent chilling out, vegging out, relaxing, kind of unwinding from my job. So those video releases are going to get a little more sparse to keep the par of quality that you're expecting. So I apologize for that. Just be aware that if I don't get a video out today, not today, but in the future, if there's a day where I don't get out a video, know that the very next day you will get a video. I promise you that. It may not always be back-to-back videos. It may be video off, video off, video off. But you are never going to have more than one day where I do not have a video. Okay, so now we're moving to the communication part of the video. Now this is the part where I'm going to ask for your feedback. So a couple things I would like to know. How do you all feel about the length of these videos? I know I've already got feedback from Alexander. He's already given me some feedback on that. But the length of the videos varies quite a bit, from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what's going on. So the way I record, I'll record up to a point at which I think is roughly 30 minutes, and then I start looking for a stopping point. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes there is no obvious stopping point, and again, it takes me an extra 20 minutes to find that point. and then I stop. Or I'll get really into it, I'll really want to keep going, and then I'll stop after that. But I do want to check to make sure the length of the videos are okay. Would you guys prefer to have shorter videos? Would you prefer that I do longer videos and just release them less frequently? Because, again, I can do them longer. I can do an hour plus long videos every time. But that's going to move us from a daily release to a once every 2 days release. So just be aware of that as well. In addition to that, I talk in these videos to you guys. I talk in the videos at myself and at whatever's happening on the screen. Is the content of that dialogue good for you guys? Is there anything going on in those videos that you're like, man, you really shouldn't talk about this. That's not anything that's helpful. Or is there stuff in there that you're like, man, I really wish you'd talk more about blank? Or is it okay? Because honestly, I don't really have a lot of feedback on that aspect of it. My understanding is that you are enjoying it. So I just keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm obviously getting more and more comfortable with these recordings. Again, we're not very far into this channel through these playthroughs, so we're still fairly young when it comes to this channel's lifetime. So I'm not 100% comfortable with the recording process yet, but I am getting there. But you guys let me know what all you want to see less of, more of. I'll see what I can do about adjusting to that. Finally, with regards to feedback, I would like to know you guys' opinions on different games that I should play in the future. So I've already talked about Chrono Trigger, part of my Nostalgia series. What other games would you like to see in my Nostalgia series? I do have a short list, and I know this is a little tougher because, of course, you guys don't know my childhood or the rest of my life, so how would you know what games to recommend? So I'm going to throw some at you, and if there's anything you hear that sounds like it correlates with another game you had in mind, throw those at me. I can let you know if it's doable. Maybe there'll be something that I've never played before, and we can move that to the blind list. But the list of my nostalgia games that I want to go through are, and this one has already been requested, so I will be doing this one after Chrono Trigger. This one's actually requested by my wife. So, I'm sorry guys, but I am going to listen to her and go ahead and put this one out first, which is Tales of the Abyss. So, we are looking at Tales of the Abyss after Chrono Trigger. In addition to that, the list I have here are Chrono Cross, Earthbound, the Final Fantasy series in general, because I've played almost everything. Breath of Fire 3 or 4. I can also play Suikoden 1 or 2. Persona 3 and 4 as nostalgia games. And finally, Parasite Eve. Now that's a very short list. And of course, those are all very Japanese. That's what I grew up on, and that's what I played pretty frequently. So, if there are any other games on that list that you would want to hear a nostalgia take on, or anything that you've played yourself that you want to get maybe some insight into how I had played it before and how I enjoyed it, go ahead and let me know. Throw it in the comments. Throw it on my discussion board. Shoot me a what is it called? A tweet. Shoot me a tweet on Twitter. Make me use that thing. I am woefully terrible at Twitter. Okay, so moving from nostalgia, let's look at our blind plays. So this one's a little more mixed. Again, I'm still sticking with primarily RPGs because there's not a whole lot of analysis with regards to non-RPGs that I can do, and I enjoy the analysis. So will we ever have a playthrough of Call of Duty? Probably not ever. Just throwing that out there. Unless there's a massive, heavy story in FPS game or action games, you're probably not going to see that. But this is a little more mixed. So my list of blind games right now that I have access to very easily are Breath of Fire 1 and 2, Crimson Gem Saga, which I think was actually originally on my list, but I've taken off because I've realized there's a lot more games out there that I can access. So I'd like to get some more feedback on that. Also Deus Ex, The Witcher series, and more recently Divinity Original Sin and Pillars of Eternity. So those are some of the games that I can play through blind for you guys. I own those. I own a lot more games than that as well that I have yet to play. Some of them are on other consoles that I don't have emulation available for. I don't have a recording device. I don't have a recording setup that's going to work quite yet. But if the push for non-PC or emulator available games becomes a lot greater, I'll probably start looking into adjusting my setup in a way that will allow me to record games from consoles. I do have all the technology to do so. I don't have a recording card, like an actual card to record from the consoles yet, but I can get that very easily. But other than that, I have the capability to do it. It would just be quite the undertaking, and I'll probably have to take time between games to do that, which means it'll pull me away from the channel for probably several days in a row. In addition to Nostalgia and Blind, I do have one more idea, but I'm intrigued by it, but I want to make sure this is something that the people would even care about. It's kind of low on my list, but it is an idea, and I'm really excited about the idea. I might end up doing it anyway, just for myself, just because I think it'll be fun, but I would do it on my own time, not to take away from the schedule you guys are already getting from the channel. So, I'm also thinking about doing MMORPGs. And that's not streaming, that's not recording the gameplay as I'm going through it and posting up like different fights and stuff like that, and the leveling procedure. There's a lot of people out there who already do that. No, I want to capture the ongoing story in an MMORPG. Give that experience to people who may or may not actually have access to these MMORPGs and are curious about the story. Primarily Final Fantasy XIV, since it is technically the only MMORPG rather, that I've maxed leveled on. And it's still a game that my wife and I play fairly regularly. And we play it a lot less than we used to, but we still play pretty frequently. I still log in probably every other day at the very least. But it could be an interesting project to go through all these different MMORPGs out there, play through the stories and get those up. That would actually be a lot of fun to me, at least with the story-driven MMOs, because maybe not so much on non-story. Well, that was a lot of words, guys. I made a lot of words. So let's do a quick recap and make sure that I didn't miss anything. So we've talked about what we finished. We talked about what is being worked on right now, and we've talked about the future plans that I have for the channel. We went over the different games that I've come up with for nostalgia playthroughs, as well as the ones I've come up for my blind playthroughs. Again, those lists are in no way comprehensive, but you can use those games as a reference to pick out your own games if you so desire. And once I get some information back from you guys, I'll try to put together a poll of some sort and see what all people want to do. Again, I do know this channel is very small right now. A whopping 11 subscribers as of this video recording. So I know there's not a lot of people out there that may necessarily be available to vote, but it'll give you voice. Hopefully anybody who has enjoyed a particular game will have the opportunity to see me play through another game they want to see, so that you can kind of stick around, have fun with me a little bit longer, hang out. I do want to put one little interesting tidbit that my wife came up with, just for anybody from the vampire playthrough that is watching this video. If I do go back and play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, yes, I will do it Malkavian, and as my wife had recommended to me, I will probably stream it. That way there's very little editing involved, and I can just play the game. Don't have to worry about structure or anything like that, I'll just stream it. When is that going to happen? I don't know. Is it going to happen? It's better than a 50% chance. So, yeah, we could eventually do that. I do like the idea of streaming these games. I just think the recording aspect of it gives me a lot more opportunity to structure it in such a way that you're getting a much better, a higher quality video to consume as viewers of the channel. So yeah, that's the overview. Hopefully this video is not too weird and messed up, which is going to be difficult to avoid, but I felt like it was completely necessary, and you guys deserve to know what's going on with the channel and what is coming up with the channel as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Take care, and I will catch you later.